The coup of 18 Brumaire, which took place on November 9, 1799, according to the revolutionary calendar, 18 Brumaire, year 8, marked a decisive turning point in French history, signaling the end of the French Revolution and the rise of Napoleon Bonaparte to political power. After a decade of revolutionary turmoil, France was exhausted by internal divisions, economic crises, and years of continuous warfare. The Directory, the five-member executive body established in 1795, had become synonymous with corruption, inefficiency, and political instability. The government was deeply unpopular, facing royalist conspiracies from the right and neo-Jacobin agitation from the left. In this atmosphere of crisis and fatigue, the figure of Napoleon Bonaparte emerged as a symbol of order, strength, and national pride. Having returned from his successful Italian campaign and after his expedition in Egypt, which, despite military difficulties, had strengthened his reputation as a brilliant and charismatic leader, Napoleon found France ready for a strong ruler who could restore stability. The idea of a coup was first conceived by a small group of influential politicians, including Emmanuel-Joseph, one of the directors, who sought to replace the failing Directory with a more efficient and centralized executive power. Sieyès believed that only a man of action like Bonaparte could ensure the success of such a plan. Initially hesitant, Napoleon soon realized the opportunity before him and agreed to collaborate. The conspirators decided to carry out the coup through legal and procedural manipulation rather than open violence. Sieyès arranged for the Council of Ancients, one of the two legislative chambers, to be persuaded that Paris was in danger from an alleged Jacobin plot. This pretext was used to transfer the legislature to St. Cloud, a suburb outside the capital, and to place Paris under the protection of General Bonaparte and his troops. On the morning of 18 Brumaire, Napoleon addressed the Council of Ancients, justifying the military deployment and presenting himself as the savior of the Republic. His speech was vague, filled with patriotic rhetoric, and deliberately avoided concrete details. The following day, 19 Brumaire, tensions rose as members of the other legislative chamber, the Council of 500, realized the true nature of the plot. When Napoleon entered their chamber at St. Cloud, he was met with shouts of "Down with the dictator!" and even physical threats. For a moment, the coup seemed to falter, but his brother Lucien Bonaparte, who presided over the council, intervened decisively. He declared that certain deputies were attempting to assassinate his brother and called upon the grenadiers outside to restore order. The soldiers entered the hall, forcibly dispersing the deputies and effectively ending parliamentary resistance. With the legislature neutralized, power was transferred into the hands of the conspirators. The next day, a new provisional constitution was announced, establishing a consulate with 3 consuls, Napoleon Bonaparte, Sieyès, and Roger Ducos. Although formally a collegial body, real power quickly concentrated in Napoleon's hands. Sieyès, who had envisioned a political system dominated by rational government and constitutional order, soon found himself overshadowed by the sheer force of Napoleon's ambition and personality. Within weeks, Sieyès and Ducos were sidelined, and by the end of 1799, Napoleon had become first consul, the de facto ruler of France. The coup of 18 Brumaire was not a violent revolution, but rather a carefully orchestrated seizure of power through manipulation, political calculation, and the use of military authority to intimidate opponents. Its success reflected both the exhaustion of the French people after years of chaos and their desire for stability and leadership. Napoleon's rise marked the transition from the revolutionary phase of France's history to the era of authoritarian rule and empire. The Constitution of Year 8, which followed shortly after, gave Bonaparte almost unlimited executive power while maintaining the appearance of republican institutions. The coup thus represented the end of the revolutionary experiment in representative democracy and the birth of a new political order centered on one man. It was, in essence, the death of the revolution and the dawn of the Napoleonic era. From this moment, France would embark on a new path, one characterized by administrative reforms, military expansion, and the creation of a centralized state that would profoundly influence European history for decades to come.